The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. The pilot run for limited face-to-face classes in Metro Manila is now underway. To give us more updates from the ground, we now have Justine Ponsalang. She's reporting to us live from Taguig City. Good morning, Justine. How are the students settling in as they now resume face-to-face classes?
Charles, the senior high school students have already settled in inside their classrooms. Their classes are already halfway for the first day of the pilot implementation of face-to-face classes. Earliest to arrive in school is Tania Valera, a grade 11 ICT student who came in at 6 a.m. She said that she's excited to return to class physically after almost 2 years of blended learning and not seeing her classmates. However, she admitted that she is quite nervous since the threat of COVID-19, especially the Omicron variant, is still here. Good thing, though, that she is already fully vaccinated. Also fully vaccinated are the teaching and non-teaching personnel of Senator Renato Cayetano Science and Technology High School. This is just one of their steps to ensure minimal to no COVID transmissions. Students are also picked up by shuttles provided by the school. Upon arriving, the students will be checked by the school nurse at the triage. Then they will wash their hands in a designated wash area before they are allowed entry inside their classrooms. But before entering, they must have their temperatures taken and they must step onto a foot bath. And waiting on their individual tables are COVID kits containing extra face masks and face shield, as well as vitamins. Doors and windows inside the classroom remain open for ventilation, and there are no plastic barriers separating students to encourage free airflow. Only a maximum of 15 students are accommodated for each of the 2 classes here. Charles, according to Dr. George Tizon, the school head of Senator Cayetano Science and Technology High School, the pilot run face-to-face classes will go for 2 months, and then there will be an assessment. Besides the Renato Cayetano Science and Technology High School, pilot face-to-face classes are also being held at the Ricardo P. Cruz Elementary School for kinder and grades 1 to 3 students. But Tizon said that 8 more schools are ready for the return of face-to-face classes. Charles?
Thanks for that, Justine. That was Justine Ponsalang reporting live from Taguig City. Around 100 students attended the limited face-to-face classes in Payatas B Elementary School in Quezon City. Of this number, 48 are kinder students, while the rest are grade 2 students. Only 12 kinder students are allowed per class, and 16 for the second graders, and all of the teachers in the school are also fully vaccinated. The OCTA research group says a post-holiday surge is possible if the Omicron variant enters the country. But OCTA research fellow Guido David said we should not be overly concerned about it, especially if the public continues to observe public health standards.
I know people will finally be having Christmas parties. We can't stop that. So there might be some spikes in cases here and there. But again, nothing to be overly concerned about. But we are concerned that if Omicron variant manages to get in, it may cause some spike in cases or maybe an increase in cases.
However, Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere recommends holding Christmas parties online amid the threat of the Omicron variant. Vergere noted what happened in Norway, where a big Christmas party caused an outbreak of the Omicron variant.
Tayo po ay nagpapaalala pa rin sa ating mga kababayan, the virus is still here. Let's continue to practice the safety protocols. Kung magki-Christmas party po tayo, baka maaari virtual parties muna. Let's have that sacrifice first para po sa kapakanan ng ating pamilya at sa kapakanan po ng buong sambayan ng Pilipino.
The DILG calls out barangays that allow candidates to organize political rallies, citing concerns about public safety. DILG Undersecretary Martin Dino says while they do not have authority over the candidates, they can sanction rally organizers at the city and barangay levels. He adds that there should be proper coordination between the LGUs to ensure that these sorties do not become super spreader events.
May mga sinusyokos na kami na na mga cities at saka yung barangay, no? Dahil unang-una, kaya nga yun, nung nag-mancom kami ni Secretary, yun na nga kasi wala kaming power over yung mga kandidato dahil COMELEC lang ang pwede magsuspindi sa kanila o magkano eh. Pero yung mga organizer, diyan kami magko-concentrate na kailangan coordinated kayo. Patas lang tayo, patas ang laban. Kaya at saka dapat sumunod kayo sa alert level 2.
Experts from all around the world are racing against time to find out more about the Omicron variant. Bloomberg's Jason Gale tells us what we know so far. Let's watch this.
So this is a really interesting and a little bit bizarre virus that has emerged kind of out of nowhere. So with all the previous variants, we've been able to kind of track their lineage and have an understanding of how it sort of evolved in different populations over time. But with this particular one, it has so many mutations. There is no link with really any previous variant in terms of time and place. But we do know that it has more than 30 genetic changes on the spike protein, and that's the really important part of the virus, particularly what's known as the receptor binding domain. That's the area of the spike protein that interacts directly with our cells to cause an infection, and it's also the target of the antibodies that we mount in response to vaccination and in response to a natural infection. Although the signs in South Africa at the moment are that people are being reinfected. We don't really know where Omicron's come from. We know that the initial cases were reported in Southern Africa and Botswana, as well as in South Africa. These countries are sort of implicated in the emergence, but really we don't know for sure where or how it's emerged. One possibility is that the virus emerged in an immunocompromised patient who had the coronavirus for many, many months, and that chronic infection allowed the virus to slowly adapt inside the patient and become better suited to being inside the patient. Well, at the moment, we just don't know enough about this variant. Certainly, the indications are that it's spreading very fast in South Africa, but we need to know, firstly, is it more transmissible than Delta? There are signs that it probably is because it's out-competing Delta in provinces like Gauteng and South Africa. We want to know if it's capable of evading our immune responses from the antibodies that we generate from vaccination or a prior infection, and there is some evidence that's probably happening. So I spoke earlier in the week with Deborah Cromer, a scientist at the University of New South Wales, who has a different take on whether we will need to tweak current vaccines.
I don't think we should all get all excited about some sort of Omicron specific vaccine, because so far that's not what we've seen as being the best thing to fight against it. New South Wales was having 2,000 cases a day, and now they're having 100 or 200 cases a day, and that is just as a result of vaccinating people. So the vaccines we've got do work, at least against Delta, and hopefully they'll continue to do so against.
Senator Manny Pacquiao confirms that he will be joining basketball exhibition games with Floyd Mayweather Jr. in January. Pacquiao and Mayweather will form teams with 10 players, 2 of whom must have played in the NBA. Pacquiao is said to be eyeing Philadelphia 76ers legend Allen Iverson as one of his reinforcements. Time now for a quick look at some of today's headlines. The Health Department is monitoring more than 250 individuals who arrived in the country from South Africa. Nearly 100 Filipinos are currently stranded in Europe and Africa due to the Omicron-related travel ban. And the OCTA research group now considers NCR as very low risk for COVID-19. And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us later at 10:45 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.